know, people talk about climate change, but sometimes it's kind of hard to grasp exactly what that means. It's hard to see that in a picture. But here is such a picture. We've had a really hot fire come through here only a couple of months ago. This wasn't just a fire, a normal fire that this region sees. It was a real inferno. You know, fires are a really important part of the Australian bush, and this vegetation, it is pre-programmed to burn. It's super important. But what we usually get in this high, cool climate are these gentle fires that trickle through this bushland. And what we got on the 12th of February this year was something totally different. We've had years of drought, higher temperatures, strong winds. It caused a firestorm, it caused an inferno, and it's done permanent ecological damage to this property. When the fire came through on that day, it was just simply undefendable. We just had to run for our lives in the end. There wasn't one single spot on my property, Quoll Headquarters, of 400 acres that was unburnt. Every single part of this property has seen this fire go through. Coming back the next day, we didn't know what to expect. The property was totally devastated. Just walking through the bush, seeing just how much dead wildlife there was. After nearly 20 years of trying to conserve this property, it was just heartbreaking.
I purchased this property solely for the conservation of the spot-tailed quoll, Australia's largest mainland carnivore. In New South Wales, they're currently listed as vulnerable. In other states, they're listed as endangered. They're going to quickly be on the endangered list in New South Wales as well. Quite frankly, I want to do something about it.
I bought it to not only protect the spotted-tailed quoll and its habitat, but to improve it. I've done that over the last 20 years. I've installed wetlands and wells to try and increase the species on this property as much as I possibly can. So the quoll itself, not many people actually really know about these guys, and I wish more people did. They're Australia's largest mainland carnivore, so they're a little bit smaller than a Tassie devil. They're much more agile than the devil, much more of a hunter than a scavenger. They're great at climbing trees, and they're real stealthy night hunters. They're cantankerous and they're savage, and they've got all the equipment they need to make short work of a meaty meal. It's only been about 8 weeks since the fire now, and already you can see the growth that's coming back. The animals are coming back as well, and the birds. So it's time to release or re-release the apex predator. So these guys have been displaced by the fires and being pushed into local farmland, where they get into all sorts of trouble with farmers and chicken coops, etc. So it's great to be able to put them back into their natural habitat. An important part of this conservation project is actually protecting this land in perpetuity. And the way a private landholder can do that is if they have high conservation value land like this, they can contact the Biodiversity Conservation Trust, who can put a permanent covenant on this land. So upon my death, upon me selling this property, it can never be cleared, it can never be used for anything else, except for nature conservation. The next project, in partnership with the Biodiversity Conservation Trust, is a feral-proof fence around the perimeter. Fences of this type have proven to be the best tool in conservation for Australian wildlife. What these fences do in a nutshell is free the native wildlife of the pressures from feral animals. You know, the The Australian eucalypt, it's such a resilient tree after fire. These guys do it really well. When the crown burns out in a really hot fire like this, they really need to be able to photosynthesize quickly so they stay alive. Their first line of defense is where the sapwood is. They'll throw out these shoots right up the trunk called epicormic shoots. So straight away that tree can start to photosynthesize and start growing again. That's a great thing to keep the tree alive, but a downside of that is that when you get a whole forest that's full of these low shoots, and these shoots get larger and larger, you actually get more of a fire hazard than you had in the first place. So it can be a bit of a snowball effect, but it's great to still see them alive. In the last 2 years out here, we've had almost half the rainfall that we usually have. Our summers are hotter and they're drier. That causes these firestorm conditions that has never been recorded here before. Although this vegetation is pre-programmed to burn, and the Australian bush recovers like nowhere else on Earth in such an incredible way. But what happens with climate change is you get something like this. It's not just a beautiful big tree. This tree had a job in this area. It filled this canopy. Now we've got a canopy hole. What that does is it means the sun's shining down here in a hotter way on this forest floor than it has before. So no longer are we going to get the orchids, the ferns, the fungi, the mosses, the lichens. We're going to get grasses. That's fine. We're still going to have an ecosystem, but it's going to be a very changed one.